Hey, are you looking at me or are you checking your emails? Are you looking at Facebook or at memes? I can't really tell. And I think that this is one of the biggest problems we're facing right now when it comes to creating meaningful connections with each other online. And I get it, we're all spending a lot of time on WhatsApp and FaceTime and Zoom and Skype, talking to our friends and family members and our colleagues just so we can stay in touch with them. But I never thought that was going to be me. I used to believe that this, our cell phones, is one of the biggest barriers to connection, because you've probably all experienced this at one point where you're talking to a friend and while you're mid-story sharing something really amazing, maybe even vulnerable, suddenly their phone starts beeping and without hesitating they pick it up and they start replying to a text message while you are still telling your story. And you know how that feels. It makes you feel unimportant and ignored. And once the pandemic started, 2020 happened, this suddenly became the only way we can stay in touch with each other. This biggest barrier suddenly became the only option. And I still remember very early in the lockdown, I was having this moment where I remembered all these friends and community members that have touch as their love language, that love to high five, they love to hug, and especially if they're living by themselves right now, they must be having a really hard time. So I thought, okay, let's come up with an experiment. Let me set up this event, which I called the world's largest virtual group hug, and I had big plans. I thought we're going to get hundreds or thousands of people to join on Zoom, and then I'm going to register it with the Guinness Book of World Records, and it's going to be amazing. But then registering something with the Guinness Book of World Records takes some time. I posted the event that it's happening tomorrow. So yeah, I changed it to being a practice run instead. And I still had no idea how we're actually going to do this virtual group hug until people started signing up. And I said, okay, let's go through a couple of options. Like maybe we can hug objects. What if we hug a pillow? That would be cool. Or what if you get a little stuffed animal from your kids or grandkids and you give that a squeeze? Or just for fun, I brought in this, which I'm sure you'll recognize. You all were part of the big toilet paper shortage of 2020. And I just had bought this baby the day before the event. And I was so happy that I thought, just for fun, let me show that you can also hug a toilet paper roll. But as I was hugging it, I realized, oh wow, this is like the most like a human. I mean, the stuffed animal, too small. The pillow, too soft, not like a human. They don't behave like that. But the toilet paper, like there was some density to it. I was like, this is the object that I will choose. And everyone chose different objects. We started doing this fun little moment, and I thought, okay, this is going to be just like a 15-minute thing. I'll play some cheesy love songs in the background, and then we'll go off into our weekend. But as I was hugging my object and the music started playing and we all closed our eyes and took a deep breath, I started to remember this moment where my 1.5-year-old son was giving me a hug just the week before. And usually he's a super fun, happy kid, but he gets terrified of the fire alarm. And of course they had some fire alarm testing, and he came running, sprinting down the apartment towards me with this like terrified, frightened look on his face. And he jumped on my lap and gave me this big squeeze. He wrapped his hands around me and really like squeezed me really hard. And it took him about 30 minutes to calm down, and then ended up falling asleep in my arms. And that moment was really emotional for me. Like I started to tear up. I started thinking about, wow, how can I can't protect my son from the fire alarm. I can't make it stop. What is there that I can do? And all I can do is just hold on tight and give him a hug back. And that moment was still one of the most memorable ones that I've experienced in the pandemic. on Zoom with a bunch of other people, and as soon as I opened my eyes, I realized everyone was having this emotional moment. They started tearing up as well. And what was supposed to be a 15-minute quick fun experience ended up being over an hour of us sharing really vulnerable stories about the challenges that we're facing in the pandemic, about living alone and not having any physical touch for weeks, for months. And I don't think we ever had shared until this point those things that we were struggling with. And it felt really good. It made us feel like we're not the only ones. Everybody's going through something right now. And I love this analogy of everybody's experiencing some rain, and some people might just experience a drizzle and others like in a full-on thunderstorm. And unless we talk about these things, we just don't know. So that moment to me kind of changed everything. I realized, oh my God, there's so much more possible when it comes to facilitating these magical human moments online. And it kind of all grew from there. And I realized the biggest challenge we really have is being present with each other. Like, this doesn't happen automatically. We have to set the intention to be present. So I invite you, actually I challenge you, if you're watching this video, to reach out to someone, a friend, a family member, a colleague that maybe you know lives by themselves, and really be present with them when you connect with them. So close the other tabs, make them full screen, put your phone away. Actually, in my in-person events, I often create these cell phone sleeping bags that we put our phones inside, seal it up, and put it away. Create some kind of ritual so you can really be present, be there, ask some great questions, and have those conversations that we're all craving right now. The ones that are real, the ones that are not about small talk and not about corona and not about politics. The ones where you actually make the other person feel seen and heard.